I want to take you through this simple skill of creating a pattern that will be turning on and off. That is, if you want to change, for instance here, this mock and the KCSE, I'm analyzing, let's say the mock exam, I want to change now to the mock details will be appearing, and if I want to change to KCSE, the KCSE details will be appearing. I'll be showing in other scenario and other tutorials how to do now that analysis by changing and switching to the other mode. Now, if you can see here in this demonstration, if I click this, you have the KCSE exam, and if I click on it again, we go back to mock exam. So it moves to the left and to the right. If it is to the if it's on the left side, if I click, it moves to the right. That means I'm in the KCSE exam, and if I click on it, we go back to mock exam. If I'm in the KCSE, I'm able to do whatever I want to do with the KCSE analysis. Then if I go back, I click, I get the mock. If I'm comparing now the two, I'll be able to compare that. So I'll take you through on how to create this pattern. I want to take you through on how to create this pattern. First of all, let me just open a new sheet. Then what you do, I can have here, let me have it here, like I have exam type. I can have exam type, that is exam type in this side. So if I have exam type here, I can talk about mock. And then I can also have here, that is okay. Then where I want the title to be displayed, for instance at that point or whichever point, even if I dock there, I use an if function. I say equals to if. So I want to say if this b2, if b2 is equal to, if it is equal to mock, remember it's a text, so it must be in quotes, mock, comma, then we have it should be reading in quotes mock exams. So that is how the title should appear. Otherwise, comma, otherwise it should be reading KCSE exams. Otherwise it should be reading KCSE exams. Then from there I close my bracket, I press enter. So you see it is reading mock exams because it is what is there currently. So you can do some formatting if you wanted, bold, I can change color to whichever I want it to be. So those are some formatting things that all of us can do. Now I want to have the pattern here that will be moving it now. So what you do, you go to insert, you go to shapes. Then I want to pick this shape, that is a rounded rectangle. If I pick a rounded rectangle, I have it, for instance, at this point. The rounded rectangle, I have it at that point. If I have it at this point, now you can move this so that you make it rounded like you want. Then I'm done. So I can also go to insert, I come to shapes, and then I also pick like this oval thing. I bring it here. If I bring it here and shape it the way I want, if I'm satisfied with this, I can have it both at 6 so that it is uniform at this point at 6. Then if I'm now done, if I have it at 6 and I am done, then I can come here to shape outline here. So on the shape outline, I can give it an outline color that I want it to be at the outside, if that is the color I want. And then what do I want the color inside to be? If I want the color inside to be that, I want it to be green, you pick it, the color you want, then you are done. If you are done, you bring down that pattern inside here. Good. Now if I bring there inside, I'll make sure that I change the name of this pattern here from oval to, I call it like a move. I can call it like in small letter, move pattern. I call it move pattern. Then I put the end, that is I press enter. So move pattern. The reason why it is opening is because I have that move pattern already in sheet 1. in sheet 1, I had prepared it, I had done it, so it will take me to the code. But anyway, you label it to move pattern, then after doing that move pattern, you've labeled it and it's okay, move pattern. So what you do, let me label it a different name. Let me call it a different name, like I can call it move pattern now in full, so that it does not take me move pattern in full. So if I press enter, then this one, if you click, you see it is move pattern. Now it's okay, it will not interfere with the macro already created. So if I have move pattern, now I'll go to I'm done. Then from there I go to developer, so that I create a very small code that will be moving it to the left and to the right. So I can have text box already here, so I can label this is like mock, this is KCSE. So to label that, you insert a text box, you go to that one, you pick a text box. So I can have a text box at here point, at this point, and call it mock, and then just resize this, you can resize it, yes, up to, it's okay. If you feel it's okay, so you copy this, I need to copy this one, I copy, I'll come and paste there, then I move it. Remember, moving, you must have this one so that you're able to move. I call this, I change it to KCSE, I change it to KCSE. Then if I'm done, I can now remove I can change the color of this. You can have the color to whatever I want. If I want that to be the color, or whichever, if you want a shouting color like that, you also change here the color. You also change, I can change the color to, no, that is filling the color. Anyway, I was not interested with filling the color. I was interested with the color of that. I can have it as a different color. Let me have that as your mock and KCSE. Then after having that, ensure you can change that shape. You go to format, you make sure there is no outline. There is no outline, so no outline. You also have here no outline. Shape, there is no outline, and then after that, now I can move to developer. I had shown you in previous tutorials how to have the developer pattern here. So you click on developer, then you go to Visual Basic. Now you can see I was talking about sheet 2, so I make sure it is sheet 2 that is highlighted. Now in sheet 2, I can right click this sheet 2 because the one I'm dealing with. If I right click, I click on insert, and then I click on module, insert module. So in this insert module, I can now you start with option explicit. That is option. You write option explicit, option explicit. Then you start with SAP. So we talk about SAP. I'll have to write it SAP the way I wrote move. I wrote move pattern. So let me use it the way it is there, move pattern. Then I press OK. I should be having those for it to have a sub procedure. So I press enter. So that when I have a sub procedure, so I can decide to copy that, but let me take you through the coding. So we start with this sheet. In this sheet with sheet 2. Now we are talking about sheet 2. With sheet 2. With sheet 2, what do we want to do? We want if dot range is we had seen here, if you go here, you'll be able to see that this is in B2. Ours is in B2. So if this B2, because that's what we're interested with, it is B2. If that B2, let's go to the code. If dot range, so we have to give that range. If dot range B2, if dot range B2. Remember, range in Excel VB, it must be in quotes. It must be in quotes, so it will be and then under brackets, in quotes and under brackets. So we must close these brackets. Then if B2 dot value, if that value there dot value, if that value equals 2, if it is equals to, in quotes, remember mock is a text. If equals to mock, mock is a text. You can decide to write it in capital letter because it is in capital letter the other side, but I don't think that it can have any problem even if you don't use the capital letters. So mock, and then if it is that, then it has to do this. It has to do one shapes. It has to deal with dot shapes. It has to change the shapes. That is the dot shapes. You see it's appearing here. Dot shapes. Which shape? You give which shape. That is in bracket. Dot shapes. Which shape? In quotes. You give the quotes. The shape is move. The shape we said is called move button. That is the name we gave it. Move button. That is the name we gave it. So that shape move button, then we cross it, move button, dot increment. So we need it to move, to increment to the left. So dot, so we say dot increment left, it's appearing here. Dot increment left, we want it to move 30, like 30, the value that we want it to move up to what extent, 30. So then, if it moves dot 30, then dot the range, what will it be? Dot range. So dot range, that be B2 now. That this B2 dot range, we can dot range dot value. That is dot range dot value. This B2 should be reading what? It should be reading. So we can pick this one. Can copy dot range dot value up that, copy dot range, Ctrl V. So dot range B2 dot range B2 dot value now should be reading the opposite. It should be reading the opposite, that is KCSE. K should be reading KCSE. So else, so if it is that, then else, if it is not that, else, so we say else, it should be now the shape movement, the two, we change now these two, copy, and now we Ctrl V, so that move pattern dot increment, it should be increment out to the opposite side, so negative 30, so it should be negative 30, yes, negative 30, then from there we have, yes, from there we have dot range dot B2 now also be reading, if we it was reading here mock KCSE, then this one should be reading mock now, should be reading mock, so it should be reading mock. Then you are done. Now we need to end if, then we also end with, because we started with a with here with sheet 2, so we also end with. So if you end the 2, end with and end if, and then you are done. We can test now and see whether it is doing the work. So if I debug, compile, you see there is none. So I go back. If I need to assign this macro, I need to assign this the macro. So you assign both of them. Control, you delete that, you control, then you press this one, so that you assign macro. Right click and say assign macro. You have to assign move button. This one is the one I've created for this. So if you do that, if I click on it here, you'll see now it's moving to KCSE exams, it's moving back here. Now that is a simple way of doing it, of changing from one to another, from one title to another. So that is basically what I was doing. Then I'll show you in another tutorial how to use this to analyze exams between two exams. Between two exams, if you have one exam they have done this time and another one the other time, now you want to analyze it here, you want to compare them. It's a very simple thing between changing between the two of them and having the results maybe displayed on the other side on another sheet. So I want to say that if you really liked this tutorial, ensure that you share and subscribe so that you also promote me and you are able to get more updates. Thank you.